Easy to use, fun, and it sounds cool. The new plugin from Process Audio, SpiceRack. Let's take a look. Hello everyone, welcome back to MixBest TV. Hope you're having a great day. Before we start, please check the info box down below for my mixing courses on Pro Mix Academy, free plugin special discounts and offers, and of course, link to Process Audio SpiceRack that we are seeing in this video. And if you really want to learn how to mix and master professionally, click the join button down here, become a MixBest TV member, access the already big and always growing library of full mixing courses, start to finish, mastering courses on many different genres and a lot more. And keep an eye on the new very popular format, the live mixing classes. Those are one-offs. And if the videos are helping you, please consider using the super thanks and support the channel. Let's see this new plugin. In a past video, we've seen another plugin from Process Audio, Decibel, that turns your phone or tablet into an external multimeter, and it's really cool. This new one is called SpiceRack, really easy to use, instant result, and it sounds cool. This is our GUI, which is resizable. I really like the graphic, and we have basically two main modules, a drive module here, the orange one, and an equalizer module, the blue one. And then few simple but useful functions as input and output gain. We have a gate with extended controls if you want, attack and release, and even a sidechain. We have wet gain, mix knob, and our metering. And when I opened this plugin, I saw something that made me happy right away, because when we talk about distortion / saturation and EQ, and I see a mix knob, I immediately think about potential phase issues we're running in parallel. And to handle that, here at the bottom we have a linear phase switch and also oversampling up to 8. Our main modules are the drive, our saturation module, which has 5 different algorithms, drive and tube being my favorite for mixing purposes, subtle to mid distortion. Then we have amp simulator, lo-fi and fuzz for extreme effects. You can decide if you want to apply the saturation to the mono channel, the mid channel only, on the side channel only. Right now I'm running on a mono track, so this is grayed out. We also have a plus 18 dB boost, this bolt button here to drive more saturation into the signal. And then we have our blue module, which is a simplified but very effective equalizer. You can see we have low cut and high cut filters, and you can change the 12 dB per octave slope to 24, 36, or 48. You also have a Q for both if you want it resonant or very smooth. And here on the side we have a tone slider, which works a little bit like a TLTQ. It goes from bright to dark, and you can see it reduces the top end, mid-range, or the bottom end if you go up towards the bright. You also have one node here that you can squeeze. You can see you can reduce like a resonant frequency, or maybe you get too much high mids or mid-range when you saturate and you want to attenuate that. And for this as well, you have the Q to decide how narrow or wide you want this Q. So a very simple EQ, but you will hear it in action, very, very effective. I mentioned this many times. The key when we distort and we create maybe a radio vocal or a super saturated vocal effects or a synth, the key is how we filter the signal before and after. And cool thing that they added is that you can swap these two modules and put the EQ first if you want, and the saturation after. Another cool thing before going to the example is you can see here at the top we have a channel menu and a console menu. Now I opened this plugin on several tracks on this project, and you can see here, I can see them all here in the console panel without going to the actual channels and scroll all my tracks. And I can control remotely, so to speak, drive, mix, and out, and even the algorithm used on those plugins sitting on other tracks. And here at the bottom you see the AGC auto gain compensation with a calibrate button. When we add distortion and saturation, there's always a level raise, okay? This will auto compensate for it. So if I bypass this, if I add some drive without using the AGC function, is going to be louder. I stand outside in the rain. But if I click the calibrate and play the track, I stand outside in the rain. I take the physical pain. Now it's automatically gain matched, and it makes it so much easier to decide if the effect is actually making the track better as opposed to just louder. Very, very welcome function. So without further ado, let's start trying it on this vocal. Now, because I'm moving the drive knob, I'm not gonna recalibrate every time. I just wanna show you the differences between drive, tube, amp, lo-fi, and fuzz algorithms.
You make it hard, I wanna stop and stare. Behind those eyes, what else you got in there? 'Cause you make me feel like I should learn to stop time. You make it hard, I wanna stop and stare. Behind those eyes, what else you got in there? 'Cause you make me feel like I should learn to stop time.
So you hear drive and tube sound really organic. They are very different. The tube one especially has this really rich low mid range.
You make it hard, I wanna stop and stare.
While the drive is brighter.
You make it hard, I wanna stop and stare.
And more edgy, okay? And for the tube, this is where you can start using the EQ, because we also have an analyzer here. You can see where the too much low mid range is and adjust for it.
You make it hard, I wanna stop and stare. Behind those eyes, what else you got in there? 'Cause you make me feel like I should learn to stop time.
And here is where we could push it really hard and start using the mix knob. And here is when the linear phase and the oversampling, because it just simply makes the saturation sounds better. But the linear phase is key when you start using EQ in parallel, okay? Let's listen to the difference. For this, I'm just gonna really use the EQ so you can hear the difference, okay?
You make it hard, I wanna stop and stare.
If I mix without the linear phase, it sounds off.
You make it hard, I wanna stop and stare.
Kind of hollow, right? If I engage the linear phase.
You make it hard, I wanna stop and stare. Behind those eyes, what else you got in there? 'Cause you make me feel like I should learn to stop time.
So very, very welcome the linear phase function here. The drive is probably my favorite for like a vocals, for example, because it's really bright, has a really rich mid-range.
You make it hard, I wanna stop and stare. Behind those eyes, what else you got in there? 'Cause you make me feel like I should learn to stop time.
So very kind of boring without it.
You make it hard, I wanna stop and stare. Behind those eyes, what else you got in there? 'Cause you make me feel like I should learn to stop time.
And you see, if you start automating the mix knob on an effect like that in different sections or even different words to enhance like one passage that you want more aggressive, it's really, really smooth, because with the linear phase, you don't have phase shift, you don't have phase issues. Let's try amp.
You make it hard, I wanna stop and stare. Behind those eyes, what else you got in there? 'Cause you make me feel like I should learn to stop time.
And the tone slider, bright to dark, is just a quick way to rebalance. Fuzz.
You make it hard, I wanna stop and stare. Behind those eyes, what else you got in there? 'Cause you make me feel like I should learn to stop time.
And don't forget, you can use this type of effects to spice up your effects. So in this case, I'm just gonna put it on the return of my delay.
You make it hard, I wanna stop and stare. Behind those eyes, what else you got in there? 'Cause you make me feel like I should learn to stop time.
And here we can hear the difference between, like if I put it in stereo, I'm just gonna turn up this delay so you can hear it.
You make it hard, I wanna stop and stare.
As opposed to sides.
You make it hard, I wanna stop and stare. Behind those eyes, what else you got in there? 'Cause you make me feel like I should learn to stop time.
You hear how you can change just by adding saturation. In this case, I'm really pushing with the plus 18 to either mono, sides, or stereo. The stereo field of the effect, and it could be a delay, could be a reverb, change dramatically, and you can do like a lot of tricks with this. Let's try it on some drums and bass. This is another neat trick on a full drum bus. Again, you can apply it only on the side to create this bigger room feeling without. Sounds really cool. Let's try a bass really quick. The tube algorithm on bass, listen to that really low note, how it growls nicely. Let's go something a little more electronic. And we can use this type of effects, for example, to automate the beginning of a track. You could also add an automation for the tone. That would be cool. So many things you can do. This is super easy to automate like this because it's got few controls and they allow you to change the character of the track very, very quickly. Remember, when you use the mix knob like I'm doing right now, always use the linear phase, otherwise you get weird phase shift. And not just because the EQ, but sometimes saturation and distortion algorithm then can shift the phase, okay? I also found out it's really cool to beef up electric guitar, heavy distortion. Listen to this. And you can see I'm using a 35% mix. I really like the tube and the drive for things like this. Also because they have similar character and similar type of saturation, but you know immediately the drive will tend to be brighter and more focused on the mid-range and top-end saturation, and the tube is gonna add more body. So for guitars that maybe are thin, listen to this again. You hear even when you calibrate the output, you have more density and more energy from these pair of guitars. Really cool plugin. Again, super simple to use. It's got everything that I would want. Linear phase, oversampling. You saw the wet gain being useful while you tweak the plugin. Love to just add this saturation, this drive to the sides on stereo material. It makes it sound a lot more interesting. It kind of enhances the delay and the ambient that is already there, so they are gonna be easier to fit in a mix. Really cool plugin. We didn't use the gate, but let's get a loop and see what we can do. And then let's use the mix knob and see how it is. Even create weird effects like this on a loop. I think this is it for this video. This was Process Audio SpiceRack. We are close to Black Friday, so if there's gonna be a sale, a special discount, I'll put it next to the link in the info box down below. If you like the video, please don't forget to leave a like. If you wanna access the members only content, click the join button down here. Leave your comments down below. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Stay safe. See you next time.